Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to Spirit of Islam. I am your host Ashraf Zaghloul. Last week in our show we talked about we need your help to support, keep the show going, and I would like to thank all the people who called and all the people who wrote to us and the people that donated some money. We need your help. It was very touching, some of the messages we got, but to keep this show going we need your support. So I encourage to keep helping us, inshallah. One of the misconceptions about Islam is, and as I always say, Islam is misunderstood mostly by non-Muslims and Muslims themselves. And a lot of people look at religion as a road to the hereafter, rather than religion is to give us the best life in this dunya and the best life in the hereafter. So it is the best of both worlds. And today our topic will be Muslims' contribution to civilization and how Muslims are and were part of this life to contribute and make things happen. My guest today, I'd like to introduce my guest today, Dr. Kaasem Khaleel. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, thank you. Praise to Allah. Yeah.
Yes, I was impressed with the number of books you wrote about the topic. What drove you to write about this topic?
Well, to be honest with you, I had heard a lecture by Sayyid Hussein Pasha in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. You know, that was one of the early mosques in the West. And he gave a talk that was different, where he said that Islam created the modern sciences according to Will Durant, according to Briffaut, according to a number of Western, Sarton and others. Yeah. So he was quoting Carlyle, Western historians, Bernard Shaw, who said profound things about Islam's creation, and different Muslims were involved with inventing the instruments and the sciences themselves, and that the Greek role was important, but not as important as the Islamic role.
Yes.
So I started researching it and accumulating information. Then I got an accident. We'll talk about, I think, at some point. Yeah. As a physician, I'm a physician as well.
Yes.
And the accident almost killed me. It was an infection. And then I thought I was going to die. So I sat down and wrote the Science in the Name of God. That's how it happened. I thought it was, you know, could I do something before I pass on? As you said, to try to do something productive in this life. Yeah. And of course, it just so happens that Islam is based on the belief in a next life.
Yes.
But you said very wisely for our people that we have to earn that or deal with that by doing all that we can here.
So what did you find in your book?
Well, I found that the lecturer was correct, but there were interesting facts that had never been published, which I found in the libraries and in the institutions throughout the world. And I had accumulated books, and here's what we found, that the Western historians have revealed that it wasn't the Greeks and the Romans. Now, a lot of people are going to think right now, okay, the sciences, well, that was the Greeks and then Western Europe.
But why don't we give some credit to everybody? It wasn't just one group of people. Throughout history, everybody contributed to this.
Briffaut said, which we'll get into everybody's contribution, that if it were not for the Islamic contribution, there would be no Western science. In his book, The Making of Humanity.
So how did he build his argument?
Well, he made it very clear that the Greek works would never have been uncovered.
Yes.
He also made it clear that the Greeks, as we know what the Greeks did, and they did many interesting things. They did great work in astronomy. We know that the Romans abandoned sciences but did some work in botany. We know that the Hindus produced the mathematical scale for commerce but didn't really use it for algebra as such. We know that the Babylonians brought mathematics to Hindustan. So we know that came from Egypt, from the Pharaoh's time. And all credits given, of course, to that. But as far as creating science, where you do detailed experimentation, Briffaut also said in his book, Making of Humanity, detailed, precise, minute experimentation was alien to Greek thought. And Pierre Martineau said that the Greeks did not do any scientific investigation, which was a very aggressive statement.
So it's the methodology more than the science.
It's the methodology. I mean, the Greeks did some interesting astronomical things, but the actual creation of this experimental method, the reason for this is that we give credit to to Newton in our schools, and we're told that Newton and Galileo and Copernicus and Brahe and Kepler were the first scientists, and that they created the scientific method. Fowler said that in his book. It's not true.
Okay, could you
the
say
opposite
it's partially
is
true?
It's not even partially true.
Why do you say that?
Because the only people who created the actual scientific method, according to Western historians, and we're talking about the top ones like Harvard's Sarton, are the Islamic peoples and the Christians and the Jews who worked under the Islamic Empire. It was Islam that gave the bedrock for
the Islamic
international
civilization, or the
Islamic
nation.
civilization is what did it, which was the contribution of all cultures, which is the point I think you're wanting to hear or make. But the actual people who wrote the books showing detailed experiments were the Islamic people, Muslims from all continents. And that's why Briffaut said, look, we've looked at the Greek works, there were no experiments. We've looked at the Hindu works, there were no experiments. There were theories of algebra, theories of mathematics, theories of astronomy, but the only people who did scientific experiments, for example, let's look at Al-Razi. He was the head of the Baghdad hospital. He said, or he wanted to know if bloodletting, which the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he recommended bloodletting, he recommended cupping, right?
Okay, could we explain to the audience what does that mean?
Well, bloodletting would be the release of blood to stimulate the bone marrow, to take pressure off the system, to take poison, to take... people do that, they give it to the Red Cross.
Fair enough.
But it was said many years ago by this great man. Cupping, of course, is a suction device which ultimately sucks secretions, lymph, and blood out. Yes, it's cleansing, but what does it really do? So Al-Razi took humans, one group with meningitis, both with meningitis, one group with bloodletting, one without. The people without bloodletting did poorly and died.